Hey guys, how's it going? Reed here. The series on narcissism as a network. And specifically, we're talking about fake knowledge, hard stuff. I'm going to introduce a new concept to you. First, it's important that you understand that if you're going to survive an encounter with a sick, disgusting, stinking, awful, perverted narcissist, um, you have to understand how to get out of their grasp. Remember, they are trying to unalive you. They're not your friend. Remember, when they come to you with a cheesy smile, presenting fake knowledge through the mechanism of superimposition, meaning they take the truth, whatever the truth is, and they put a veneer over it and it presents you, they presents you the fake knowledge with the truth concealed. And you view this as reality, not this. And there lies the problem. There's the remember the bait and switch game? Remember the ball and shells game that the con artists would use the three shells in the ball. They're find the ball, but really they're removing the ball from the game and then putting it back where they want it, just so they can take your money, right? And remember, this works very well when they have somebody else in the audience working for them, making it seem, encouraging you to bet more money to make it to so that when you win the first bet, you wager more. So you listen to the person in the audience feeding you more fake knowledge, and you double down on the delusion. And what happens at the end of the delusion? You lose everything. Why? Because the game is rigged. The game isn't real. You're not playing a game. You're playing a con. The reality is that you believe you're playing a game. That's the fake knowledge there. And they let you win the first one. That's going to be like for $5 to $20, but they trying to get $40, right? As long as the man in the audience continuing to feed you fake knowledge, he's continuing to develop the delusional system now that will encase your thinking. And through that delusional system, what you're going to do, take the money you just made, you put down 20, you won 20, so now you got 40. And they say, well, just go ahead and bet again. Now you put the whole 40 down, right? You lose. They how does that work? Are you really okay? Hold on for a second. If they put up 20 and you put up 20 and let you win, then you got 40, so they down 20. And then now they're going to say, okay, well, let's go ahead. I'm going to put up 40. So they're going to put up 40, and then you're going to put up 40. Now, when they win, they're going to win their 20 back, and they're going to win your new 20. So they're going to get $40 out of the deal, as opposed they'll get, by giving you the first $20, they're almost guaranteed to get $40 out of the deal, as long as the salesman in the audience is superimposing on you with fake knowledge, making you believe that he's a spectator in the audience, not a member of the con squad, because they all are giving you fake knowledge, making you believe that you're playing a game, but you're actually in a con surrounded by a bunch of hooligans, sick narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. Right? You getting this? And just like the man who's playing the three shells game, anytime you enter a illusion, a delusion, or delusional system, there's no way that you're going to profit. And one of the reasons why you need to really understand this is because if you are not making any progress in your life, then you have to understand why. It's likely that the entire environment is staged against you. It's likely that you've been forced inside someone else's reality, and that's when you're being held there to perform all the vital functions for them as a character inside of their lives. So your life's value is to attend to their lives while you ignore yours. You go to work to serve your overlords to improve their lives. But in the process of you dedicating yourself to improve someone else's lives, your reality and your life in the background is not being maintained. Your health is not good. Your finances are not good. Your relationships are not good. Your mental health is not good. Your physical health is not good. Your credit score is not good. Your breath, your teeth. You need to go to the dentist on a regular basis to get the teeth cleaned and things like that. The normal routines, life insurance, things like that. None of those things are being maintained. Is the vitality in your life when you walk into the door? When you walk into the door at your home, do you feel the spirit of the source that's giving you life there? I mean, do you feel good when you walk home, or is it desolate? Is it cold? If so, then you've been focusing too much attention to surviving than building your own world or your own nest. It's brutal. All of us have to survive, and all of us have to deal in these worlds where we have this sick fake knowledge. So let's say that you are in someone's delusional system, right? What's a delusional system? Let's say you work for an employer and that company has a culture, and that culture has been created. And so that culture is not real. That culture is a place where people are expected to simulate behaviors. And your value is based upon how well you simulate the specific behaviors that your employer want. And each employer is different. So they're asking you to simulate a performance on a daily basis. And when you simulate that performance, they believe they have a series of tasks, steps, or workflows that you can use to maximize their profit. And none of this has anything to do with how you feel or how you perceive anything. But you're significantly impacted by all these things. None of them's real, and you're forced to participate as a clone or as a character who's playing a role. And you better damn near be able to play that role perfectly. Now, object permanence is the technique of playing the role perfectly when you are trapped in some type of narcissist, psychopath, or sociopath reality and didn't know it, right? So you wake up one day, or you listen to this video, or you wake up, I've been living in someone else's reality. And the first thing that you need to realize is that they know you are there in their reality. And remember, they have godlike properties, because no matter if you are in their reality, you are in a delusional system, and they can say anything about you, and nothing that you can say will really be invalid, because nobody's going to get involved in a conversation or arguments or defend you against something that's not motherfucking real. So there's no one else to argue to defend yourself in this situation. So if you wake up in one of these situations where your spouse has trapped you in their world and exploiting you, a family member got you trapped inside their world because you have Social Security benefits, you know what I'm saying? A spouse traps you in their world because you have the financial capacity to take care of people. If you're feeling these situations, then you're going to have to use object permanence in order to get out of these delusional systems. And object permanence, I'll help you understand what that means, is the only force that I know of in this universe that you can apply that can pull you out of a delusional system. I mean, just like a truck will pull you out of the mud. And what is object permanence? Let me give you an idea of what I mean. Let's say the source that's giving power in all this, the source that's giving you life, is infinite energy, right? And it exists at a certain vibration. When it vibrates more, it becomes like a gas. When it vibrates even more, it becomes a liquid. And when it vibrates even more, it becomes a solid. And there's the whole universe, the entire universe. And you are in that energy vibrating there, right? Object permanence, you're in it there. Okay, now the key here, here's another example. Imagine the source that's giving you life is like a ocean of milk, right? And what happens with milk? It naturally curds. Okay? And just because the milk is curding doesn't mean that the curd is different from the milk. The curd is the milk, it's just in a different form. So for example, in the other example, if the source that's giving you life is energy, then when it vibrates a little bit, it's a gas, a little bit more liquid, a little bit more, it's a solid. Then when we look at everything around here, then just like the curd is still milk, the matter, the water, the gases is still the energy. So the only way to get out of these delusional systems is to have object permanence and recognize that the physical matter around you, that the water, that the air, and the idiot in front of you is still nothing but that same infinite energy form vibrating at different frequencies, and it's presenting itself around you for an experience. And this is experience with the idiot, right? But your awareness that the substance that this idiot is painted on is still the ultimate source that's powering everything and giving you life. And that source is helping you understand all the things that you have hidden in your unconscious that you don't want to deal with. Remember when I said that when you cannot deal with your psychological emotional issues, what happens? People bury them. They bury them in their unconscious. And what happens? They return to you as fate in your future. And now you're dealing with this stinking, petulant, disgusting, nasty narc, perverted narc in front of you. That narc is an unfortunate soul that was unalived and believes everything that the ego has to tell them. And they believe everything you've projected onto them. That's why they're in your motherfucking face. You are the one who's driving this. You. Yep. You the one that's driving this. That narc is really an extension of you. That narc tells you all the attachments that you have to let go. Whatever that narc is targeting, hey, that energy source says, hey, you have to let this object go. Why? When the energy becomes the curd, when the energy becomes the water, the gas, the water, and the matter, all of those are objects. So this process of transitioning from energy to objects, and each one of these objects in the universe, everything is an object. In the universe has a life cycle, beginning, middle, and end. And this whole orchestration of everything, beginning, middle, end, all this stuff is going on throughout this whole universe like this. But everything's are objects. And so what you need to do is display object permanence, meaning no change. Absolutely no change. You'll be the only object in your environment that never changes. When you become the only object in your environment that ever changes, all the other objects will reorient themselves to you. Why? You become the standard. Remember it said that, and I'm not a Christian and I'm not a religious person, but I think it said that you're supposed to be the head, not the tail. Right? Object permanence allows you to do things every day continuously without stopping. So for example, what is object permanence? How would I apply object permanence in this situation? So let's say you have a stupid narc who's targeting you. Object permanence is when they target you is for you to always remember that the source that's giving you life is up underneath that person. And that person is just the veneer under the source that's giving you life. And this veneer simply is unconscious, ruled by the ego, and has absolutely no idea what they're talking about. In fact, they're only serving as a mirror of all the things that you've repressed. And so when that narc comes after you with all the vengeance in the world, you need to use object permanence for you to understand that this is only the source that's giving me life because I have unhealthy attachments that I need to let go. So no matter what presentation the narc says to you, you can shoo it away, just don't accept it. But you're going to have to use object permanence to constantly remind yourself that narc is a reflection of what I'm projecting because I haven't dealt with my own shit. So the narcissist, the psychopath, and the sociopath, they become shackled. They become chained. You put them down in the dungeon once you heal. Why? Because you have no more attachments. You're attached to the things that's traumatizing to you, the things that hurt you the most. And you have to learn to walk away. You couldn't walk away. And that's why the narc tortured you. You couldn't walk away. That's why when you left, they took a pound of flesh. When you tried to walk away, that narc tried to do everything in their power to destroy everything about you. And what did you do? You merely came in their presence. You merely believed what they had to say. And why would they do that in the first place? I mean, why would you want to do someone like that in the first place? I mean, think about this as a person with empathy. Why would you want to intentionally hurt someone to damage them to their core, and they've never even done anything to you? They was only happy. They were only energetic. They only healed. But these people are that sick. They try to hurt you with everything they have. Let me see if I have any questions here. Okay, I got energized, healing, and fitness popping in and out between words. Hey guys, how's it going? Energized, healing, and fitness. And please feel free to like, subscribe, and share. I got to get my views up. So remember, superimposition is this process where they take the truth and just put a little lie over it, and so you start to believe that this is reality. When you make plans in this reality, they're guaranteed to fail because this is over time, this is believed to be real. But then over time, with repeated damage or repeated failure, you start to realize that what you believe is not really true. So what you believe isn't true. Why? Because when you try to exercise that belief, you never get there. So what happens is that this is the fake knowledge, right? And they superimpose the fake knowledge on the true knowledge. And that's exactly how the narcissists do the bait and switch to remove you off of your reality into theirs, which is a rabbit hole or delusional system that's designed to torture you, bring psychological emotional distress, and separate you from your true reality. It's designed to destroy you because they're trying to send you down a path where you cannot recover if you don't back out of. You understand how dangerous that is? Someone gives you some fake knowledge, you go down that pathway, and it can end your life or your career or your finances, everything, right? You meet a new person, get into a relationship, and now all the problems start coming in your life, right? Get a DUI or something like that because you're fighting with your spouse or your girlfriend or something like that, things like that, But object permanence is the only thing that can get you out of there. Let me give you another example of how you use object permanence. The most important thing to use object permanence is to realize that the energy source up under that narc is the source that's giving you life, and the narc is just the image on the surface. Like the narc is just the image on a movie screen, but the narc is not the screen. The screen is the source that's giving you life, and the narc is just the manifestation, the soul that's sort of expressing itself through it. But what that unconscious soul produces is the unconscious content that you cannot deal with or you haven't been dealing with. So once you sort of heal, then you sort of understand that there's really no benefit at all for you to be engaging with a narcissist. It's like a pool of sulfuric acid. It's like a pool of sulfuric acid. I mean, what would you use a pool of sulfuric acid for? I mean, you simply wouldn't want to be associated with that at all. It has no benefit from you. So once you start to really understand how sick these awful, disgusting, perverted people are, you'll see that it's impossible for them to offer you any benefit because they're too primitive. They do not have all the components you need to make a real human being. They just have the morphology, right? They just have the physical form and parts of the cognitive forms. But there are other parts they're parts that are not there. The narcissist incapable of looking at things from your perspective. Oh no, they cannot look at things from your perspective at all. And so you don't have a perspective with them. And that's why they look at you like, I'm not doing anything to you. But you believe that they do have that capacity. Fake knowledge, right? Are you going to continue to hurt yourself, harm yourself, and be in that bad relationship, believing something that don't exist? Like this person's going to change. The person is fine the way they are. They have you in their life. You serving a function for them, and there's no reason for them to change. Let's say that, so apply object permanence to that concept. Second thing that the source that's giving you life is up under the person, and that this person is here because you're projecting on the person. So you're the one who's actually causing all the problems. So first understand that. The second thing is use object permanence on the concept of never leaving your reality, right? So anytime absolutely anyone says something, you're going to have to maintain your distance from it. And you're going to have to say, okay, I acknowledge that that is your perspective from the world that you're in. It's a very interesting perspective. Man, in this perspective, it portrays me like this. It portrays you like this. It portrays everybody. It's a really interesting perspective. I don't agree with it though, but it's an interesting perspective. Right? So object, it'll allow you to have them keep their perspective, but you not get involved. So in object permanence, never leave your reality, because remember, when you cross that line in the delusional system, then you give them the power of God, right? They can redefine every object in that delusional world because it's theirs and it's all made up. They can define who you are in that delusional world. They can describe things that you did in that delusional world that you actually didn't do that in this world. Like, he hit me, right? They'll describe what you did in the delusional world to the people in this world. And you get the consequences in this world for the things they claimed you did in the delusional world. And you giving them that power, right? And then the delusion, as long as this world doesn't exist, that all the resources and energy you're depositing into someone else's delusional or illusional world is just wasted. So you will have to apply object permanence when it comes to staying in your reality. And the first thing you do is never leave your reality. Remember that in the Bible, the conversation between Satan and Jesus, when Satan took Jesus to the top of the mountain, said, I'll give you everything if you just bow down to me. He said, get the fuck out of here. Why? If you do go into that delusional system, you're also bound to the bottom, because the delusional world doesn't have the same performances as the real world. So you're in a inferior grade of reality, and nothing's going to work. Nothing you produce in that delusional system is going to even have any quality of you in this reality. So if you enter the delusional system, you go straight to the bottom, right? In terms of the highest, you want to get as highest frequency as you can to get to that energy source, so you look more like the source that's giving that's powering everything. You want to move as highest frequency, so your thoughts, your behaviors, the people you're around, the places you go, the food you eat represents everything on that level. But when you, which is your reality, but when you enter someone else's delusional system, you go all the way down to the bottom to an inferior grade of reality that's based upon the delusions where nothing's stable. That's why all the energy you put into it comes to zero, because none of it is real. You're throwing real money, real energy, real resources into a void. Remember how long, how many nights you stayed up because he left? I mean, how much energy you spent crying? I mean, you know, and then you had to write the email and stuff like that. You had to text back, and you had to read the text. You had to call, and you had to block them, and then the Facebook Messenger stuff. Remember all that? All of that energy, you could have taken all of that energy and applied it to your studies or applied it to your job, and then you would be more competitive in this area. And then the expenditure of the energy would have been for your benefit in your reality, but you are doing an energy drain, an energy dump that costs a significant amount of money into a void. A delusion is a void. It's an illusion. The system is an illusion. You can't get gains over there. You don't get the gains until you get out the delusions. Now, it's also important to understand object permanence when it comes to staying in your reality, that the devil is only at the bottom. If you want to escape hardship, escape the bottom. Right? The devil appears only in the objects to the things that you're attached to. Right? In this model, if we're talking about density, the source is various density, and then you're talking about souls being trapped in density, like human bodies and things like that, but they don't have empathy. And so that means that they have no capacity to look at anything outside of what their ego is saying. If the ego is saying he's a killer, then he's a killer. If the ego is saying you good, you good. If you say you're bad, you're bad. There's no change in them. They're unconscious. It's an action, reaction. They're unconscious. It's an instinct. Right? You don't become a man and you don't become a woman. You don't get to manhood or womanhood unless you have a thought between an action and response. So animals on the Serengeti, an action and a response, an action and a response, an action and a response, an action and a response. And that's 99% of the humans. Action and a response. That's the ego. The ego said, you hurt me, therefore you did. I am, therefore I am, therefore I am. If somebody says you black, therefore you black. What do you mean, what is black? I'm classified as black. I'm black. Look at me. This is a bit. Wait a minute. Look at me. I'm black. I'm classified as black. No, I think I should be classified as, I don't know, what type of light brown? Not black. I should be classified as light. This, if you take this skin color and then try and match it up to black, it's not going to match. If I go down to the skin color that I match up, then I should be that race. I'm misclassified as black. I should be cream color race, if that's the case. So their nomenclature doesn't even fit everybody neatly. The nomenclature doesn't even fit everybody neatly, and we do all this fighting and fussing over race. And the labeling system is mixed up. So we don't even know who really people. Our system doesn't really tell us. This is just a pigmentation color system. I don't think that has anything to do. Okay, anyway. You're getting into the ego and all the duality and all the inconsistencies that take place when you try to label, try to put people in categories that don't fit. As complicated as this is, right? So staying in your own reality is how you apply object permanence. Okay. How do you pull yourself out of that delusional system? Well, first, you have gifts. I mean, you have a lot to contribute to. That's why the narcissist is putting so much energy into you, right? Those things that the narcissist is trying to take from you are the things that are very valuable. Those where your gifts would be, right? That's where your gifts are. And I think you need to sort of have a conversation with the source that's giving you life and sort of understand how you're going to pursue, how you're going to move to get agency. So you're going to need agency, because the only way for the source that's giving you life to transform things here on this environment is through individuals listening to their higher selves and building and constructing things in this environment that will be supportive of people, that will bring unification, that will bring peace, that will bring support, stability, all of those things. The source that's giving you life doesn't act directly in this place. It's done indirectly through the people who sort of grow to emotional, psychological levels where they understand the empathy and the direction that it's taking them. So object permanence, the third thing is that object permanence need to be applied according to what you believe that the source that's giving you life have you down on this earth for. If you believe you are supposed to be a preacher, then you got to be a preacher. You're supposed to be a dancer. You got to be a dancer. You're supposed to be an artist. You're supposed to be an artist. Whatever you're supposed to be, you need to get to it, right? The source needs workers, obedient workers, not kings and dictators. They need obedient ants. Think of yourself as an ant. And what are you going to do as an ant? One ant. And what are you going to do as an ant? Well, that's the thing you need to be doing. And apply object permanence to that. So, for example, I'm a psychiatrist. I see my patients every day. I will not go a day without seeing my patients. That was a commitment that I made to myself. I understood it was object permanence, right? Object permanence. When you decide that this is the directions your life is going to take, you're going to have to do it not only every day. You're going to have to do it not only every day. I'm going to tell you how often you have to do this. Multiple times a day. Whatever it is, when do you do it? You have to do it constantly throughout the day. I mean, every chance you get, you have to go back to it and start doing the thing you love. Now, how long do you have to do this every day? You have to do this every day throughout the entire day until you never want to stop doing it again. After you never want to stop doing the thing that the source has given you life is doing, has instructing you to do, after you never want to stop doing it again, then that's when you realize you've gotten out of that delusional system and you're back on your path. So it's very difficult to escape fake knowledge that's given through superimposition, that's applied through that way. It puts you in a delusional world. And when you're in that delusional, somebody else's delusional system, nothing you do is going to benefit. So how do you power yourself out of there? You use object permanence. Number one, stay in your reality. Period. Number one, the source that's giving you life is up under all things, and you're creating these things. Number two, stay in your own reality. And then number three, what was the number three? I forgot what this stuff is so complicated. Y'all remember what the number three is? I forgot what the other three was. And practice it. Yeah. So I'm a psychiatrist. And so I'm going to see my patients every day, and I'm never going to miss a day seeing my patients. And that's my object permanence. Me waking up every day, seeing my patients, guaranteed that I stay in my reality. Right. And then you do it, and whatever you love, that thing you love, you do it constantly throughout the day. Absolutely every day. If there's any waking time, you have to go back to it. And how often do you do this? You do this every day, constantly, until you never want to stop again. After you get to the point where you never want to stop again, that's when you know you've pulled out of that delusional system and you're on your path. And at that point, you're going to want to keep doing it every day because you never want to stop or deviate. And then you don't want to risk getting taken by a psychopath, sociopath, again, and kidnapped into their world with all these fake elixirs, fake knowledge, and superimposition. You got me? So I hope that this is helpful for you. This series is called Narcissism as a Network. And I'm trying to get you to understand that in this pervaded net, you are the entryway, a node on a network. And this is a dark network. You are under attack, not by that person, but that the person who sent them. They come with fake knowledge delivered to you. They take the real knowledge, put a veneer over it, and present it to you. In the process of you accepting that fake knowledge for real, you enter a delusional system. And in that delusional system, everything you produce is lost at the end of the game. You may not get out of there because only one force that I know of, object permanence, the most powerful force, one of the most powerful forces in the universe, you're going to need that to pull you out. Right? I hope you understand that. Now, we're going to do Narcissism as a Network, Fake Knowledge Part 8 next. In this, we're going to talk about manifold, how narcissists use manifoldness as a way to make you more susceptible to receiving the fake knowledge through superimposition. You got me? So we're talking about manifoldness and the characteristics of their speech and how the details of their speech is alluring enough to make the sparkly lights on the outside of their torture device. And it's the sparkly lights that pull you in through the process of manifoldness. These people are so sick. We don't have the current terminology to actually describe what they're doing. We had to actually go back hundreds of years to and listen to and read how they describe these idiots. And in their description of these idiots, manifoldness is the most accurate description of exactly how they get you to eagerly buy fake knowledge, the knowledge that will definitely harm you. It's been a pleasure, and I'll talk to you guys later. Read out. Ciao.